In the book of Chronicles, in the Bible's Old Testament, King Asa had a trusting problem. He started well when he was a young king, fully trusting in God to protect him and his people. He did what was good and right in the eyes of the Lord. However, decades later, he became overconfident in his own resources and his own abilities to overcome an enemy. Although his strategy initially succeeds, God's prophet condemns Asa for not being fully reliant on God. The story of Asa is a warning to us as investors who over time tend to become more protective over our assets and more reliant on what we've saved for ourselves. It's a typical financial strategy to become financially independent. As we approach retirement, we try to make plans to be self-sufficient and to make sure that we have enough to meet every possible need for the rest of our lives. But we forget that God is our provision both now and in the future. He may wish for us to deploy assets for His purposes now, not just hold on to them for our future. Is it possible we're striving for the wrong goals? Is it possible we've bought into a worldly way of thinking about our future and retirement in particular? Is it possible that in doing so, God's kingdom is hindered today? As God's oikonomos, rather than pursuing a retirement of relaxation and self-indulgence, we should deploy ourselves and our resources to do the things that God placed us on earth to do: to love and serve Him, to love and serve our families, to advance the gospel in unreached locations, and to proactively spend ourselves and our resources for Him. In watching the story of Asa unfold and comparing it to our modern mindset regarding retirement, pay attention to these ideas. First, how can the temptation to create a financial finish line actually keep us from deploying God's assets for His own purposes right now? Second, what are the common goals for retirement and how might they be different for God's oikonomos? And third, what might God desire as alternate goals for both our time and money during retirement? Asa's life mirrors many people's lives. They must depend on God when they first start out, but gradually they become more confident in thinking that they can control life all by themselves. Throughout this course, we've been challenging many prevailing assumptions regarding things like charity, investment, business, capital, and ownership of resources. Now we add in our conventional attitudes about retirement and trusting in our savings as further areas that should be challenged as fiduciaries of God's resources. I pray that this section causes you to begin to seriously evaluate how God views these topics. So let's get started.